Good morning, or how you doing, or whatever time it is when you're watching this. Hope you're having a good one. My name's Nick. Otto the garden cat's kind of nearby. I don't know if you can see him in the shot, but he's my co-star, the garden cat, and this is a Tieto Permaculture vlog. So we just had a huge dump of rain. We've had a lot of rain the past couple of days, and let's just take a look at this before we go. This thing is full. It's not quite overfilling yet, but it is right at basically the 1 inch mark, which is about 25 mil. So this was between last night and this morning. So we just got a huge dump of rain. The amount of rain that you would need in basically a week, we got in less than 12 hours. We're pretty happy that we're getting some rain here. Unfortunately, it didn't hit the whole island like it was supposed to, which is pretty sad. But I'm basically gonna walk around today and kind of respond to the issues slash the things that come up because of all that heavy rain, because I did not prepare. I know there's a couple things that are not so great, so we're gonna take a look at them, talk about them, and see where we go from there. Let's get started. As I say that, it's now starting to rain again. Otto was just getting into this pool, so you can see this pool has been filled up the past few days with water. I'm going to empty it out so mosquitoes don't start breeding in here, but this is all this rain in here, all this water. It's about half full of this kiddie pool. This is all just from the rain the past couple of days. We've had a lot of rain, So I'm not sure if this is going to last super long, this little rain spurt that's coming down. So I might have to take cover for a minute, but we'll see how we go with that in a minute. So looking in at the chickens real quick before we get started on the rest. Notice how I have a lack of bedding, pretty major lack of bedding, I'd say. I'm seeing pretty much bare soil all throughout here, and that's my fault because here comes sound of dump again. So I'm gonna go in my little hidey hole and talk to you guys from there. But yeah, that's my fault because I took all the material to make the compost pile. So the compost pile itself was made with most of the bedding material. That's what I use because the chickens go through, scratch through it, prep it for me, starts to break down, and that's the base for my compost pile. But unfortunately, I used all that, and every time I've tried to go get some more hay, some more straw from the local supplier, they've been out. They've been out of stock. I think mainly because of the just the supply chains are a little bit iffy right now because of everything going on. So it's been kind of hard to actually get the materials I need to fully cover, and I haven't been out here working as much because of the injury, etc. So I haven't had time to come out and cut grass to throw in there as a mulch. So rain let up a little bit, so I'm coming back out. So all of this area really needs to be covered up because right now it's just all washing away. I'm going to end up having a little bit of erosion here because of that. Already I can kind of see some happening. So the nice thing is really it's just going to erode down into my compost pile. And so it's not that huge of an issue. I am losing nutrient downhill, but it is going into this big old mound of compost. So that's something I'm going to do today. I'm going to quickly repile this pile. It's been about just under a week since I've turned it last, and that was the third turn. So at this point, I'm just going to be repiling it about once a week to kind of keep it continuing to break down as the chickens continue to spread it out. So we'll talk about that in just a second. I'm going to get the chickens' feed all ready to give to them while I have a little bit of a break in the rain, and then hopefully we'll start turning the compost pile, and I'm going to try to cut a little bit of grass for mulch today, just to add a little bit in here so it's not completely bare. Chicken feed bowls to soak the feed for the chicks. All right, so they're the two soaked feed bowls. I kind of basically fill the bowl up halfway with water and then fill it with grain. You can see there's still some water poking through there. And that's just gonna help just make this a little bit more digestible for the chicks, since it's not really made for chick feed. And it's not, usually the chick feed's all kind of pulverized, a little bit smaller. So it's a little bit easier for them to eat, but I don't have that. You can see the chicks are instantly, here mama, here. So you can see mama went right to the feed, the big feed, and then the big chickens kind of chased them away. You can see them keep chasing them away. And even right there. the little chicks really are hungry. I can tell. They really want to get up here. Oh, poor guys. Come around. You can do it. There you go. There you go. So this is what happening here is, this is just the pecking order being established still. This mama wants to say that she's in charge and make sure the chicks know that. So that's why there's so much of pecking happening. This mama is pretty ferocious right now. She keeps attacking me. This is the mama who raised the babies. Oh, look at that. The rooster's letting that one eat. That's very sweet. You see, this mama comes in and basically is like, nope, that's mine. And she's guarding both of them right now. Now these chicks they got over here finally. And have a little bit of a break to actually have some of this deliciousness. So I'm gonna waste no time, guys, while they're working here to go and try to start repiling this compost pile, because I just know how they go, and they're just gonna, once they get distracted from that, they're gonna be right back at it. So temperature went down to 110, 115, that's about 45 Celsius. So it's basically gone down to just, it's active, but it's not hot anymore. So what I'm gonna do is basically take it all and I'm just gonna move it uphill, and then they're gonna end up kicking it back down for me. This is the first time I've done anything with this finger, so it'll be kind of interesting to see how it goes. Got about 1 drip on that squeeze test, which is exactly where I want to be. There's the compost pile turned, or really just repiled. It's less of a turn now. So I am technically turning it because I'm taking the entire pile and basically repiling it up. So that's considered kind of a compost turn, right? But I'm not doing it in such a way that I'm really trying to focus on, you know, this part's going to the middle, this part is going to the outside, because I've already done the 3 major turns that needs to happen with, the first 3, where I got everything into the center of the pile and nice and heat up. So I'm not worried as much about getting everything now to the center, in the center of the pile. I'm mostly worried about just keeping the pile going and keeping the pile continuing to be active. So by piling it up again, I'm giving it a nice little space and home to have that ability to heat up. In the center of the pile there especially, that's going to be where it's going to want to heat up the most. The top little bit of the pile there, it did not get nearly, it was much more dry than the rest of it. So I'm actually going to add a little bit of water real quick, right where the rooster's standing. I'm just going to spray it down a little bit, just to have a little bit of that excess moisture, or not excess, really enough moisture. Most of the pile was pretty much perfect, right? That 50% moisture, if you squeeze it really tight, it was pretty much like 1 to 2 drips of water came out, and that's what I'm looking for. So that part is just fine for most of the pile, but there was a decent amount of the pile, especially mainly right now what's at the top, what was just kind of scattered about. It got kind of dried out a little bit, so I'm just going to spray that really quick, and then that will be pretty much all set. Whew. Already hot. All right, compost pile has been turned. It has been wetted down. You can see right there. Nice and wetted down. Again, not too wet because you don't want it to go anaerobic. There's actually a pile right down here. See how this tarp, here, let me get over here, it'll be a little easier to see here. This tarp drains water into this corner here. And so right in this corner, when I took a little bit of that material, it's actually pretty stinky, which is a very good indication that it's gone anaerobic and not so great. So I actually left a lot of that there. I kind of moved it. I was like, ooh, smelly. Don't really want to add that to my compost pile, but with the system I have here, it's inevitable that I'm going to get not completely processed parts added into the pile, because I'm in a living system. I'm basically having the chickens work with me here, but I'm okay with accepting that little bit of a risk of potential problems in my pile, just because in the past I have not actually had much problems. I haven't had any issues. I will at some point, and I'll be getting a microscope so I can actually double check my compost before I add it into the garden, make sure there's nothing bad in there. But so far, so good. Little bit of that extra moisture, and if there is a little bit of anaerobic stuff that came from there that I put into the pile, because that pile is just turned and is pretty much the right moisture level and everything like that, and it has all the active good guy microbiology in there, it'll all likely outcompete the bad guy stuff, the anaerobic stuff that could potentially be pathogens. It'll kind of outcompete once it's back in that pile, and that pile is definitely aerated because I just turned it. I basically just added it all up and I fluffed it as I went. So basically every time you turn it, you're adding air, you're aerating your pile, and that's what you want to be doing on a constant basis, making sure your pile stays aerated and has enough moisture. So it's kind of a balance. You want air and moisture, but not too much moisture, not too little air. It just takes time and a little bit of practice to kind of figure out the right ratios and everything. Mom and her chicks are enjoying underneath the compost pile. You can actually see it's pretty dry right there, compared to like right here where it's wet because of all the rain. Right there it's dry because this tarp is helping keep most of that moisture off here, which is why I keep my compost pile underneath the tarp, just so I have a little bit more control of that moisture. Just that little bit on the side there got a little excess wet from just because this is not quite all the way over. You can see there's a little bit of a gap here where my tarp ends and the pen begins. You can see Otto is very, as usual, very interested in what the chicks are doing. I still am not 100% trusting of him around these chicks, because look at how excited he is. Look at him, a little tail wagging, thinking about how delicious they would be. Huh, Otto, that's you. All right, so I'm just gonna do a really quick, at least some grass harvest, some sort of mulch material that I can add down as bedding in the pen there, because it's just getting a little bit ridiculous. So I'm gonna come over here. So there's a bunch of tall grass near my mom's house that I usually steal from. So you can see all that right there. I'm gonna take from there, up there, and probably just around the corner. And that's gonna be my tall grass. Hopefully that'll be enough for at least a little bit of a coverage in the pen. Real quick shout out to the horse over there. Let's see if I can't zoom in a little bit on him. That horse right over there. Thank you, Horace. He provided the nitrogen for my compost pile, and it made it heat up nice. Appreciate you. It's looking pretty sad over there in the wet. He's probably all wet and a little bit cold maybe, but that actually makes me feel pretty good here in the tropics, because it's pretty hot in the morning already. I mean, I'm sweating, and I'm doing a little bit of work, but not that much work, you know? So a little bit more bulk material down here that I might grab in just a second. I'm going to take what I have, which is just that, which is definitely not going to be enough, but it might be enough to get started for today. I might be okay with it. So we're just going to kind of see when I bring it up, see how much we got. You see Otto is coming to inspect my work as usual. He always wants to be right behind me when I'm working. So, decent amount of material here. You can see there, that gave me a nice little, at least coverage of that sloped part, which is pretty slippery. So I'm pretty happy with that to start with. And I'm gonna try to see if I can get a little bit more to at least give this stuff a basic cover. Oh, I don't know, you don't want to go in there. So we'll just get a little bit more, but I'm actually just going to do that on my own and not take you guys along, because I'm sure this is already long enough of a vlog for you. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys' support. Sorry I haven't been getting as many videos out, just with all the stuff going on, starting back up at work, finger injury, etc. It can kind of slow for a little bit, but I will be back and I will continue, and it's not going to stop me, one little injury. So appreciate it. If you guys do like what I'm doing, please subscribe to the channel or share videos, especially the compost videos. That's what I'm really passionate about. So please share those with your communities if it would be helpful to them. And yeah, until next time, have a good one. Yeah.